Expanding on its India plans and actually revisiting its India plans, electric car maker Tesla could be looking at establishing a supplier base in the country. Officials from the electric car maker came and met Indian government officials last month regarding setting up a manufacturing plant here. Billionaire Elon Musk owned Tesla is already looking at India as a production and innovation base, and these operations could be expanded to include suppliers as well. ET Now's Sumit Chaturvedi and Shrishti Sharma join us with more details. Let me go to Sumit first. Sumit, what are Tesla's big plans for India?
So far Tesla was planning to have a manufacturing base here and planning to source maybe some components from China, but as sources tell us that now the components will also be sourced from Indian companies. So Tesla is planning to have a vendors base here in India, which means that majority of these components will be sourced from Indian component makers. Majority they are quite famous around the world. Many of them are supplying to global car makers already in India and overseas. That is the plan. Apart from manufacturing in India, as we understand that Tesla met Indian officials, government officials last week, and there were discussions that manufacturing plant will be set up. After that, Elon Musk, billionaire, he tweeted that he is in favor of India plant, and some announcement on the location can come by October this year. But that was manufacturing part and manufacturing plan, which was quite clear and in public domain after Elon Musk tweeted it. Later on, the vendor-based plan is now out, and it looks like vendors will be taken on board before the Tesla plant is put up here in India in October. That is the plan of Tesla. It's a long drive in India and not just the short-term thing just to put up a plant and sell cars here, but put a whole ecosystem of innovation, manufacturing, and having a vendor base also.
All right, Shrishti is also with us on the story. Shrishti, what does this development mean for Indian OEMs? What are you gathering on this?
Well, yes, Tesla is seen to be making for big plans for India Inc., and wherein they are not just looking to set up a manufacturing plant, but now they are planning to set up a vendor base as well. And this could actually be a big boost to the Indian auto ancillary company. But before coming to the list of stocks that are in focus, let's have a look at what are the big plans for Tesla. So definitely they are looking to manufacture cars in India. They are negotiating on those terms. But before that, we also get to know that the supply and vendor base is what they are looking forward to. And as we know that Tesla has big plans in terms of the production level, because for calendar year 2023, they expect to be ahead of their long-term target of 50% CAGR with a target of 1.8 million cars for the year. Though it is a target for the whole calendar year, but it is expected to continue the same in the years ahead. And if India is going to be a part of that, that will be a big boost for the Indian auto ancillary sector specifically. But when it comes to the stocks and the list of companies that are expected to benefit, although we are still awaiting more clarity on this particular news development, and maybe towards the end of the year we will come up with the blueprint of Tesla plans for India Inc. But for now, we are seeing that all these Indian auto ancillary companies are doing phenomenally well, and they have a lot of focus in the EV space. They have started building onto their EV specialization as well as getting global orders as well. Just to highlight some names there, then Uno Minda, Lumax Industries, Suprajit Engineering, Samvardhana Motherson, Sona BLW, as well as Fiam Industries, Sundaram Fasteners, Varroc Engineering, and the list goes on for all these companies which now have good presence in the EV space. And not just that, when it comes to association with Tesla, then we have got three names out there, wherein Sona BLW, Bharat Forge, as well as Sandhar Technologies. These three companies are already said to be in reports that they have connection with Tesla Inc. So maybe in the years ahead, all these companies as well as these three names specifically are expected to benefit when Tesla really enters the Indian markets.
All right, it's a wait and watch so far, but the real story, and thank you for that, Sumit and Shrishti, the real story is what has changed. Because a little over a year ago, this conversation was going on, and Tesla was very clear while talking to representatives of the Indian government that they first wanted duty cuts on imports. Imported cars have 100% plus duty. In India, Tesla said, make it cheaper for us to first import fully built vehicles and sell in India, and then we'll talk about manufacturing. India said, no, first you build the cars here, set up manufacturing plant, provide capital, employment and jobs, and then we'll talk. So have they come around? Arun Malhotra, auto industry expert and former MD of Nissan India, joining me on the show to speak more on this. Hormazd Sorabjee, editor, Autocar, speaking with us today. Great to speak with both of you. Hormazd, we've had so many conversations about this when the first sort of Tesla excitement began. How seriously should we take these reports that say that they're back at the negotiating table?
No, I think clearly they're back at the negotiating table. Obviously, I don't think anything has been confirmed, categorically by them. But the fact that they've come looking at India, obviously they would. But, honestly, I wouldn't get too excited about Tesla coming. Frankly, it is the poster child. It is the poster boy of the EV world, and obviously has a certain buzz to it. But I think they would have a hard time trying to make a big mark over here. I think, at the end of the day, EVs, as we have seen with the success of the Tata Nexon, they have to be affordable, they have to be relevant. And I don't think Tesla is going to cater to that end of the market. At best, there'll be a niche in this market and, clearly maybe have some exports out of here. Coming to the suppliers, there are already suppliers already supplying to Tesla. So that's, again, nothing new because Tesla, we are a part of a global supply chain. Indian ancillary industry really is now plugged into, global supply chains and even for EVs. So I think that, again, is something which is just, something that is happening. So I am not too excited, honestly. And, if they come, they'll probably come with the CKD operation first. Because I don't think the market is that big to warrant full-fledged manufacturing. It just isn't there. And unlike other international OEMs, which have ICE vehicles as the kind of core of their scale, where the EVs are just, incremental, Tesla doesn't have that luxury. So whether you see Mercedes, BMW, Audi, they are making or assembling, CKD ICE cars over here, and the EVs are just an add-on. But to build an entire plant, unless you have core volumes of, close to 70,000-80,000, to start off with in a full-fledged manufacturing way, I just don't think it makes any sense, economic sense, to set up a plant here.
But, setting up a plant is very, very important from government and policy point of view. Arun Malhotra, I'd like your view on this because India's EV plan is clear. The vision is that we will have 30% of all vehicles being electric vehicles in the foreseeable future. Does a Tesla fit into that story? Or is this more a domestically driven, more economical, make in India story on which Tesla hopes to hop on?
I feel the sentiments expressed by Hormazd, it's very, very early days. As far as manufacturing is concerned, in the car market today, even the contribution of cars in EV is hardly less than 2%, 1.5%. And that even 85% is below the price of 10 to 12 lakhs. So effectively, the market size is very, very small, and I don't think it'll change sizably. And I think that Tesla would have realized, because they initially wanted to get components from China and just assemble it here, which the government can't allow because there are companies like BMW, Audi, Mercedes in the market, and they want a level playing field. As far as the vendor base is concerned, every company in the world is examining this China plus one strategy. And I think it makes eminent sense for Tesla to use India's, we have fairly well-developed auto ancillary companies, which your report even mentioned. So to use it as a base for components, and these components could be used for other countries like also. So that seems a more practical proposition. Already that they have some relationship, but that is something which they can do on. But as far as the setting up a plant is concerned, I don't think it makes sense for them. Government has got this production linked incentive scheme, advanced cell chemistry scheme. So probably when they get into vendor base, other things, it can probably help them. But at the moment, the vendor concept is more logical and more possible there. And Tesla's has strength, they have a large market, and India can use as a base for also sourcing components.
Okay, but what about selling in India to Indians? Hormazd, let's be honest, everyone's excited about that. No, Arun Malhotra saying that's not happening.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just looking at their current thing, they've tried to bring their cars here. Firstly,
Yeah.
from what we understand, they were not suitable. The ground clearance was too low. They're looking at the Model 3. Again, looking at the pricing, there wouldn't be anything less than 60, 70 lakhs, as a CBU. But even then, when you bring it down, prices are, even 40, 50 lakhs. The market just isn't big enough, to set up a full manufacturing base over here, unless it's, I would say, 90% export, which again I think is unlikely because other markets, you can't expect India to become such a huge export base for Tesla immediately. I mean, the interest is in the domestic market. That's how it would work. So I think, they would be at best looking at a small CKD operation, which makes sense, testing the market and then going forward. So I don't think it's going to be, they're going to rule the EV world at all. I think that's going to be quite challenging.
Conversation about, as far, Hormazd, just to understand, so what is the conversation about as far as the stalemate is concerned? The issue always was reduce your taxes so we can at least have a shot at selling in India.
I think it was basically about the high rate of tax on CBUs, which is still very, very high. And it's the same as an ICE vehicle as it is for an EV. That was basically the thing. So what Tesla was saying, which there was merit in, that, look, don't give the same import rate for an EV as you're giving to an ICE vehicle. But I think what the government has done is they've got a very low GST rate, 5% across, whether it's a CBU or it's not a CBU, it's manufactured here. So you've already got that benefit, which for Tesla obviously wasn't enough. I think, at best they will look at some sort of a CKD manufacturing. And we've seen the benefit of that with Hyundai and Kia. Kia EV6, fully imported, 20 lakhs more expensive than the Ioniq 5, which is assembled here. So you've seen the economics right over there, and they both belong to the same group, by the way, and they both share the same platform. The cars are built on identically the same platform. So really, there's not much give and take between the cars. So seeing a 20 lakh difference between a CBU and a locally assembled here, not even manufactured, just locally assembled car over here. So I think they might look at the local assembly option because that would give them, again, a huge cost benefit. I think the duties would come down to whatever 30% as opposed to 60 or plus. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but I think that's what it is, 60 and 30, which kind of translates into that sort of a number. So Kia EV6 and Ioniq 5, classic example of a CBU versus a CKD, where the EV6 is uncompetitive because it's 20 lakhs more.
Again, coming back to the point, Arun Malhotra, apart from being sort of a novelty factor for the VVIPs who can afford it, where does Tesla land in the current Indian automobile landscape?
See, in the last 1 year, if you look at the companies in India, Mercedes, BMW, Volvo, Hyundai, Kia, they've all moved into that space. And there are already 5 players already there. And please remember, they also have assembly plant existing already in the country. So they are adding this CKD operations to the existing plant. Now, if Tesla comes, they have to start with CKD from scratch. So even in a market which is so small at this price point, and where already 5, 6 companies have got aggressive plans, it doesn't make much sense for them. And then China is a large market, which already they have a plant. China exports to Australia, even USA has their own plant. So there is not much potential as far as exports is concerned also for them. I don't see any ready markets. So effectively, components, or basically the vendor base, is something which makes sense to them, which is making base. And probably they could start up with CKD operations because that is something, but that also is a very, very long haul. So there's nothing much interesting you can expect in 2-3 years. But component, I really believe that's a logical step ahead, which there is a lot of potential.
You can just be excited about the thought of Teslas in India, but the road to the Indian market is still quite a long way off for Tesla, and maybe quite a few speed bumps there. Thank you so much, Hormazd and Arun Malhotra, for speaking with us today.